In this lesson, we will cover reviewing systems in the system browser and adjusting settings to review system information. In this project, lighting fixtures and lighting devices have been placed, along with some electrical fixtures. Some circuits have also been created. At this stage of the project, when you're modeling and creating circuits, you can use the system browser to help you keep track of circuits in your model. To open the system browser, switch to the View ribbon. And then in the Windows panel, expand User Interface and select System Browser. By default, this system browser is docked to the right of the screen. You can expand it as needed. To begin, pay attention to the two drop-downs at the top. First, you can choose whether to display Systems, Zones, or Analytical Systems. In this lesson, we're just going to focus on Systems. Next, you can filter the list of systems by discipline. So for this example, we can select Electrical. What's happening in the system browser is that it's tracking all of the electrical connectors in the project. And so you can see an unassigned branch and an electrical branch. Let's start by expanding unassigned and then expand electrical and power. When you do, you can see a long list. And this list is actually all of the electrical connectors that are not assigned to a circuit. And so these are power connectors that are placed on either electrical fixtures or mechanical equipment, and they are not assigned to a circuit. That's why they are in the unassigned branch. When you expand electrical, you can then expand power, and you can see a panel name. When you expand that panel, you can then see circuit numbers, and we'll just keep expanding this and then talk through it a bit. Okay, at this point I've expanded it quite a bit, and I will zoom into the electrical room here so you can see the two panels that we have along with the transformer. And this is how the system browser can also help you see how things are circuited. So if we look at the bottommost level here, panel LP1 is on circuit 1 of transformer T1, and T1 is in 1, 3, and 5 of panel MDP1. And so that's kind of how our circuiting is in this system. And then underneath each panel you can see individual circuits. And as you expand those, then you can see the specific either lighting fixtures or electrical fixtures or whatever may be circuited on that circuit. And so in this case, for panel LP1, circuit 1, we have several lighting fixtures. And as I hover over each one, it'll actually highlight in the model. And now that I'm zoomed out, you can see that in the model as well. There's a button right here which will auto-fit all columns, and so I'm going to click that, and then I'm actually going to collapse this one just a bit. That way we can see some of the additional information. So right now, by default, it's showing the space number, the space name, the space number, and then the load and the voltage. So I can see that for each fixture, and then when I go up to the circuit, I can see the total load and voltage of the circuit, and then up again of the panel. And so it's a good way to track circuit information. You'll also notice that when I hover over a circuit, and I can even select it, that circuit will highlight in the model. And if needed, I can right-click a circuit, and there are options such as Select, Show, or Properties. And I click Properties, and the Properties palette will display the instance parameters. And then similarly, I can select a lighting fixture or any device that's on a circuit, and there will be options as well. And so really any listing here, you can select it and there will be options. Lastly, there is another button over here in the system browser, and it's Column Settings. When I click Column Settings, it opens up the Column Settings dialog, and you can expand some of the branches here and choose additional parameters to show in the system browser. So for example, I'll select number of elements, and then I'll scroll down, and I'll under electrical, I'll select distribution system, and then click OK. And now you can see the distribution system appears. And so one thing I'll point out is that not every option here will be applicable to every system. And so just be aware of that. So obviously there's a lot of parameters here which apply to mechanical or piping systems and not necessarily to electrical. So just be aware of that. If you select something and you don't see it, it's because it doesn't apply to that system. And so I strongly recommend using the system browser. It can help you keep track of the circuits in your model.